My name's Glenda Kroll, and today is Magic Monday once more, and grateful for today being a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. And yes, we finally hit spring in Toronto, Canada, and I'm sure a lot of other places. Seems like we've had a really hard time in the last little while weather-wise, because there was a lot of people out there who've been suffering with such terrible rains and flooding and things like that. So always something always to be so incredibly grateful for. And thank you very much for coming and joining me today. Amy, thank you for joining me in. I'm so glad to see you. And anyone else who comes in, please share ourselves with others, because we are here Magic Mondays. Magic Mondays is about sharing stories, what people go through in their lives, how they make it through, how many things, little golden nuggets that they can share with one another, possibly to help somebody out through their trials and tributes, or maybe something that has gone really well for somebody that we can share and somebody else can enjoy in those blessings in life. So today I am with a very lovely lady here, Tara Geraghty-Ellis, and she is here to share her story. She is a disability strategic analyst, and maybe I'm not saying your exact title right, but okay. She'll tell you what it is. She is, she's amazing. What she has made through in her life, what she has conquered, and what is she continuing to conquer is unbelievable. I am so blessed and so proud to be with her here and sharing her stories with you, because this woman has done amazing things in her life, and it's just to show you that, you know, when you've got that drive or that heart in yourself of knowing, even if you don't know what you can do it, but you are doing it, is something incredible. So welcome, and thank you so much for joining me
Glenda.
here.
I'm so thrilled to be here. It's such an honor, and I'm so happy to see you.
Yes, it's so lovely to get caught up again. It's been a little while.
It's been too long.
Well, because you've been a busy woman. You have been around, and besides, and we'll talk on some of these things afterwards, besides of writing a book and now being a speaker on stage, yes. And doing such incredible things. I'm in total awe, and I am so inspired by you.
Oh, thank you, honey.
And that's why I really felt it was important that I came to you and sit around and we've had a nice little chat before we came on air. And yes, so please tell our audience today a little bit about you, and we'll start going into some more in depth about what's going on in your life now.
Okay, first of all, welcome to my home.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to have you in my lovely dining room. And it's just such a great honor to be able to share a little bit about me and my history, because frankly, I consider myself one of the luckiest women to ever exist, because I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to exist. When I was, before I was born, my mom was told to abort me, and then when I was a baby, I was told, they were told to give me up for adoption, or put me into an orphanage, or put me into a home for disabled kids. So I'm just blessed to be here and to be able to take all of the experiences, good and bad and otherwise, because the road has been full of twists and turns and everything like that. But I think that's what makes all of us the same. That's the great equalizer, is nobody's life is ever going to be straight and easy. And everybody thinks that their lives is so much harder than everybody else's.
So true. We sit back and we always think we're the only one going through something.
Why is this happening to me?
To me, yeah, yeah.
But the reality is something is happening to everybody, and you have it worse than somebody else and somebody else has it worse than you.
Well, we're just talking, and that's one of the important factors of you just saying that right now is you always have to look behind you, because when you start thinking that you have things or something is going wrong for you or bad for you, you better look behind, because you know what? There's a lot of other people behind there that have it a lot worse.
Yeah.
So, you know, as we were just mentioning, the one important thing is you know, you better sit down and hold on to a little bit of that gratitude and be grateful for what you have to go on through, because, yeah, it can always be a lot worse.
The biggest elixir for me is actually gratitude. More than any medication that I could ever take. And I'm on a lot of medication, trust me. But more than any medication that I could ever take, gratitude and waking up and feeling grateful for the littlest things, the ability to open my eyes, the ability to walk to the bathroom. When you get right down to it, the little things that you may take for granted day to day, if you just feel grateful for the ability to do the little things, you'll find yourself more able to do the bigger things.
So that leads to, well, a ton of questions. Let's talk for a moment about your book.
Okay.
You've written a book on your own, and I'm so in awe of you. This is a challenge all unto itself. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Okay, it's called Visible and Empowered, and it's deliberately written V-I-S-A-B-L-E and empowered. My top tips for living freely, fully, and on purpose. So this book title came from a conversation I had with my husband, and I rarely tell this story, but it was actually birthed because I had a conversation with my husband, who also, for those of you who don't know, also has a disability. And we were talking about how when you have a visible disability, you are always the center of attention.
Yeah.
You're always out there and visible, and you know, you go to a concert and like there's that front row, or you go to church and there's that front row, and you're always front and center. But there's very little focus on being visible for what you can do.
Wow.
Okay? Visible for your abilities. Because we've been taught, or at least I was told for years and years and years and years and years when I was little, you know, you shouldn't have dreams, you shouldn't have goals. There's no point, really. Not by my parents, not by my mom, but the school system, the medical system, the social service system. They don't encourage you to dream when you have a disability. You are encouraged to survive. If that.
Well, and at some points, I will, even because of my own life, it's not always even surviving. It's kind of what I would say existing.
Existing.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's life. You should be grateful that you can exist.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is more so more a few years ago. Like I have found, and that's, you tell me if I'm wrong, that a lot of things have shifted a bit in people's outlooks. A bit on life, not a 1,000,000%, but I have seen a bit more of a shift where there is a little bit more hope with people with more disabilities than there used to be.
Depends on the community.
Okay.
Depends on the group. So there are slow movements, but there's still segregation, there's still lack of access, there's still accessibility issues, there are still barriers to inclusion. All of these issues remain. So until we get to a point where every person with every kind of body and every kind of personality and every kind of lived circumstances can exist just as they are and are respected and
that's a big word.
and included and really honored for what they bring into society, we will never have a just society.
Well, so my question is will there ever be a just society? Because, you know, we've got so many different types of people, so many different opinions, and I don't know if that's something that will ever actually be 100%, but I so hear what you're saying. I understand.
Yeah.
But that's a huge feat. You know, it's one thing, you know, that society has tried because they are now, you know, doing wheelchair access and all. We have moved forward in some respect.
We have.
We have to acknowledge that.
We have.
But we were also just talking, there's a lot of things that we have moved forward with in some respects, but we also have moved back in some respects too. So, you know, there is still a lot of people, because they have physical or there's challenges that you can see, that there's people that will never give them the chance to do.
And I think there's always going to be inequities in society, just because that's the makeup of society.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we don't strive for perfection. Right? Because if we don't strive, we'll never get there.
Well, yeah.
We'll never get close.
But it's like that with any of us when you have a dream, you know, we all have dreams and we all should have dreams. You know, if you don't start dreaming, you're not going to end up having anything.
Right.
So we all need something to shoot for.
Right.
But the dream isn't just getting there to the top of that. It's not getting to the top. The dream is what's going on as you're getting there. So it's the journey.
It's the journey.
It's not the destination.
Right.
And you've had some incredible dreams, and I'm sure this book must be...
This is the result of not only my dream, but my dad's dream for me, my mom's dream for me. I was told over and over and over again for years and years and years that I should write a book. So I began to write a book, and just as I began to write the book, my dad got sick, and then he subsequently passed away. So the book took way longer than it should have, but it got done, and I'm very, very proud of it. And it's basically the how-to manual for living your best life when you have any kind of a disability. How to work the social services system, because or the healthcare system or the education systems, because these systems, these institutions are what sort of are, they kind of get in the way of the dreaming.
Well,
for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it's you don't get off the ground with the dreaming because you're told from day one you're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be in school. You don't belong. You're not smart enough. You're too disabled. You're not disabled enough. You're
very true. I know that one. Yeah.
It's kind of you're just not enough. Period. So just be grateful. Just be satisfied with whatever we hand you, and go on your little life.
Okay, so somebody who's having these type of challenges, and we all say, you know, when you talk about disabilities, there's so many different levels of disabilities in our lives. And some people who visually don't look like they have a disability, well, you know, even by not having a positive mindset and thinking in a very negative mindset, and that can be a disability into itself as well.
Yep.
So what would you say to somebody who's going through something and they don't know how to get through? What type of thing can you give them direction of making it through up that ladder or getting that dream moving forward?
First of all, breathe.
Good point.
Okay, breathe. And believe that somewhere in you is a nugget of desire for something. You want, there's either something that you want to do, something that you want to be, something that you love, something that you enjoy, something that brings you pleasure. Even if it's the smallest momentary thing, grab it and run with it. And even if it's not going to go down the road of riches or fame or wealth or long-term stability, it's something. It's somewhere to start. You can always change your mind.
Okay, so you're telling us then you're not saying that you have to know what your clear destination is going to be?
No, I've changed my mind thousands of times.
Cool.
I wanted to be a nurse, then I wanted to be a doctor, then I found out I'm no good at math. I was okay at science in elementary school, and then I got into high school and university, and well, that was the end of that. So
reality sets into
all
of us.
Exactly. Then it was the hard stuff. So
yeah.
So then I wanted to become a teacher, and I literally had my co-op teacher say, "Teaching, not." I went, "What?"
But hold on one second. Who's to say that you're not a teacher right now? You know, you and I have known each other for a little bit of a short time, around about a year or so that we've met. And I'd say from the time I met you, you've been teaching since I met you.
Well, and that's the thing. Teaching comes in so many different ways. You can't put a label on something and say, this is what this looks like. Just like a diagnosis, just like a personality type. You can't typify what things are and run with it and say, yep, this is what this means. Because you can always mold and shape your reality to fit who you are and who you want to be, and
or who you are at the moment.
Or who you are at the moment.
Because we keep changing, we keep growing, thank goodness.
We keep growing, and our realities change, and our lives change, and that's just a wonderful thing.
Thank God. Yeah. So what inspires you every day?
Oh, everything inspires me. Everything inspires me. I'm inspired by learning. I'm inspired by other people. I'm inspired by just I'm a ravenous reader. I love just self-development. I'm inspired by knowing more, experiencing the little things. I'm inspired by little accomplishments.
I think that's huge, and I want to really bring that out and point that out to you, because you know, everybody thinks you have to have these grand, huge gestures in their life, and we tend to get overwhelmed by them because they're just too much. So I always say, and it's funny because I used to do this without even knowing that. When my kids were small, my daughter used to come home with projects, and she used to sit down and just cry because there was so much. And I used to say, no, we just got to sit down and just take one small little thing and let's get that accomplished. And once we started knocking that off, just bit by bit, all of a sudden she started flourishing. And I do that all the time with any of my my clients when they're working through things, and even for myself, you know. I write things down and I start knocking things off, and sometimes I take the largest things and get rid of it because that's sometimes what overpowers us. But, you know, it's time that we take one small thing and be grateful and get rid of it and and then celebrate that you've done it.
Yeah. And in my world, it can be a very, very simple thing. We were talking earlier about the fact that I have been going through some medical tests, and we think I have what's called POTS. And for any POTSies out there, you will resonate. One of my biggest accomplishments over the last couple of days happened yesterday.
And what was that?
I got out of the shower without fainting.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, yes, I had a shower without fainting. Now, I don't typically faint, but the whole ordeal of showering and doing the rigmarole and still having my head about me was a huge accomplishment. I'm sorry, it was.
No.
And I mean, there's also what we call, there's a community that we refer to as the Spoonie community.
Sorry, could you repeat what that is?
Spoonies.
Okay.
Okay, you should look it up. It's great.
Okay. Share with us, what is that?
Okay, a woman who has chronic pain wrote an article about explaining what it's like to live with her chronic disease. And she used spoons to explain how quickly her energy level is used up. That's basically it. And I'll put a link at the end. And so out came this huge, vibrant community, and we call ourselves the Spoonies. And so when I can get through a day without using up all my spoons, that's a huge accomplishment. When I still have time at the end or energy at the end of my day to actually, you know, have a hug with my husband or, you know, have a conversation with my mother, that's a big deal.
See, so this is what, you know, it's part of life. You know, there's some people that have been very blessed and they haven't been touched with any health problems, or the day-to-day existence is quite easy for them. But, you know, sometimes that's what I'm saying. You've got to really look back and look around, because not all of us have a life that's that easy, and you know, you got to really look of how grateful you really do have to be, because really it isn't like that everyone's life is that, you know, just to be able to, like, we take for granted to take a shower.
Yeah.
And how crazy is that? You know, most people take a shower, get in and out, get dressed, and away they go, and don't even have to think twice about it. And then yet you've gone through all of these things and plus, and you're being able to now reaching out and touching other people and helping them through. So you began speaking.
Yes. That is one of the loves of my life. And it's absolutely inspiring for me to stand in front of an audience and touch hearts. They say it's one of the most, 5 most frightening things for people. For me, it just energizes me. And I just adore it. I love speaking in front of people. At the end of the month, I'm speaking at Speaker Slam here in Toronto. And it's going to be great. It's on the 28th of May.
Lovely.
So,
Wow.
yeah, it's going to be great.
I look forward to going and watching you,
so
I can applaud you.
Oh, so looking forward to it. And yeah, so that is the thing that it's the writing, speaking, coaching combination that I truly love.
But it wasn't always like this. You didn't always go up on stage. This is something somewhat new?
Yes and no. I've always been a speaker of sorts. When I was little, I did the telethon thing. My mom had me do the Sick Kids Telethon, the Variety Club Telethon as a variety kid and that sort of thing. And then that went away. And then when I was working, I'm a social worker by profession, I always did presentations at work. And that was the part that I loved. But now I want to get back into it sort of as a full-time paid speaker.
Lovely.
Yeah.
See, so this is what we're here. We want to be sharing with you so you understand that, you know, whether you have a disability that's a physical, a mental, or anything, because who's to say what a disability actually is except for the person who's dealing with it. But it's like life isn't about that it should be stopping you.
No.
It should be about what's keeping you going. So don't take something that hits you. And we're talking this, I really want to make this out not just to the people that have the disabilities themselves, but also the parents of children. Because I see, there's a lot of, I know that in the autism rate has gone skyrocketing in the last few years. And there's a lot of, I know of a lot of people, even in my own sector, who have children that have been born with disabilities, with autism and so forth. And, you know, why I'm wanting to bring this out is because you don't know what your child is capable of. Your child could be capable of so much. So don't allow, because you have a disability or your child or a family member or a friend, to allow them to think that they can't dream. You know, we all can have dreams, and the whole idea is no matter who you are, what age you are, there's nothing to stop you, and it doesn't matter. You know, like I have said about my story, you know, I restarted my life again and had to change over lots of things through my life at a later point, and there's always been family challenges and things like that, but it's you just got to keep on going. Mm-hmm. And here's an important factor that I want you all to realize, that we're not on this planet alone. And no. The most important thing is, do you not reach out and get help? Like, that's the whole thing I want to tell you all. And why we're sharing stories is to say that you need to reach out. You need to touch somebody. You don't know why people come in front of you in their lives. They're here because they're here to teach us. They're here to share with us. They're here to give us a helping hand. I don't know why we connected up. There's a reason somewhere about it, but you know, I'm in awe, like I said, of what you have accomplished in your life. you know, my hat goes off to you that you have done so much, and that you're there for so many people and helping. So, you know, Tara is about helping others who are struggling in other ways, and in so many different ways, and so am I. So it's about...
Exactly. I mean, that's why I think we were connected, is because we share a heart bond. We have a heart bond between us well before we met. Yeah. And I think where there is a bond, where there is a heart and soul bond, and you just feel stuck as to what the next right thing is to do, you just reach out, just connect with, whether it's myself, whether it's Glenda, whether it's somebody else you just feel connected to. Just reach out and say, you know, I don't know what the next right thing is to do. Going back to something that you said, I'm very moved by kids, because I think children are so vivacious, so loving and giggly, and just wonderful. I get it when parents are afraid and they face unknown territory. That breaks my heart, and especially when they're up against these big systems or these big institutions that are big and scary. Let me help you, because the little ones deserve to play. They deserve to have their playtime and their imagination time. And I'm all about the pivot. I'm all about, if it doesn't work one way, let's do it another way.
Absolutely.
If it doesn't work this way, let's do it this way. And let's give people the world that they could possibly enjoy, and let's see what they make out of it, because people have infinite potential if they're just given the right access and the right material.
Beautiful, very well said. So we're talking about having disabilities, and as I mentioned, we all have all forms of different types of disabilities in our life. And, you know, I'm hoping that somebody somewhere is going to see this, our conversation between Tara and myself, and pass it on to somebody, because you never know where something might, you know, you think it's really nothing, or maybe it's something that doesn't affect you, but it might be something that could help somebody else to a step in moving forward. Life is about sharing, about giving each other love, kindness, and most importantly, reaching out. So, you know, stop judging. The people that are really judging one another's are the people that probably have the most, that they're actually really judging themselves more than the people that they're looking at that they're judging. But that's another whole conversation, so we won't go to there right now.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is don't be afraid to ask. Asking, you know, worst somebody can say to you, and this took me years to figure this one out, the worst somebody can say is, no, I'm sorry, I can't help. But here's for people that have some abilities and have some contacts, like Tara and myself, that sometimes if we can't help you, we might know somebody who can.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, just always ask, because, you know, that's what the world is supposed to be about, is be helping others to move forward in their life, getting help for your friends, families, wherever. But it's all about just moving on in life and creating, maybe somebody else can have a dream that you never even thought of, that could even touch your life and bring some really incredible, beautiful things to theirs.
And you don't need to struggle. You don't need to suffer any more than is absolutely required by your physical condition or your mental condition. A lack of resources or a lack of contacts is easily solvable. You're a phone call away from help. You're a phone call away from support. And joy is out there. Joy is achievable. Joy is within reach. So go grab it. Go grab it by the horns and ride that sucker for all it's worth.
Wow. So, just one last little bit before we go. Any little bit of a tidbit, maybe share with someone, tell them what you said to me about how you make it through that struggle. How do you make it through the day where maybe the sun isn't shining as easy for you?
I take it gratitude to gratitude. Gratitude by gratitude. You know, it's about checking in with myself. Did I open my eyes this morning? Okay, that's a good start. Am I breathing? Good start. You know, there have been days when that's been a struggle. If it's a struggle for you, it comes down to, okay, is my oxygen working? If that's working, that's an achievement. There you go.
Yeah.
You know, find the little things that you can be grateful for, and find the little things that you can do to be proud of yourself for, and celebrate the heck out of it.
Well, Tara, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Glenda.
Again, if you're interested, this book, where can they get it if they're looking for it?
You can get it on Amazon. It's on Amazon. I will soon be uploading the link directly to my site, so I'll put the link to my site as well. And otherwise, my publisher, Friesen Press.
Perfect. And we will see you at the end of the month on Speaker Slam on the stage, and be watching you and
be
cheering you on.
The topic is power of belief. So isn't that?
It's very cool. That's all about life. Life is believing, and if you don't start believing in yourself, then you got to start somewhere, and the first part is believing in yourself. And here's the thing: yes, you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I subscribe to the saying, if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right.
Very true, and you are right. So love us, share us, and give us your comments. And if you have any questions, you can write to me at info@glendakroll.com. And there will also be a link to, once I repost this on Facebook with Tara's information. And, like I say, life is about sharing stories. Life is about helping people move forward. And life is letting you know that, there is no door that says do not enter. You're allowed to enter into any door that you wish and believe that you can make it through and make a difference in this world. So thank you for sharing your story today with me, Tara.
Thank you so much, honey.
It's been wonderful.
It's been great.
And I look forward to seeing you. And I look forward to hearing from you too. So please share me, love me, and let somebody else know who's looking for a little bit of help, that there is help out there. And we're as easy as a phone call away, a comment away, whatever. There's help all around. So thank you so very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.